Well, good evening and welcome to the Island Stats Football Show. I'm your host, Earl Baston. Joining me, none other than Garrett Punchy Dill and Coach Keita. And we are welcomed by the rain. As you can tell, we are at the Florida Duffy Field Stadium here at the National Sports Center prior to the match between Rhode Island and a Bermuda Select. Let's quickly run down the results from today in the first division. So let's start with the results altogether. Devonshire Colts on Thursday night defeated Vasco 9-0. Today, Robin Hood defeated Island Rangers 9-0, and Boulevard defeated the Somerset Eagles 3-1. Those two games were at BAA today. We are yet to find out the result of Wolves and Southampton Rangers, as that match has a significant outcome as well, with the fact that Wolves went into the match in second place, 3 points ahead of Robin Hood. And, if they get another victory today, that'll mean they'll stay 3 points ahead with one less game to play. And that promotion for the other promotion spot is up for grabs. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we are hoping to be joined by the Rhode Island GAM and head coach Connor Smith at some point in time. He's getting his team ready for tonight's match. But Coach, I'm going to ask you, looking at what Bermuda's trying to get out of this, and obviously Connor in Rhode Island's inaugural season, what do you think he's looking for as the season's approaching now? I think this is one of the last stops on their preseason tour.
Yeah, obviously, being homegrown himself, he will be looking at our local boys, our local talent, possibly someone he doesn't get to see on the international stage that just may be that little diamond in the rough at this moment. So, he will be looking to bolster his squad as well, and try to give our local boys an opportunity to get off the island, just so that Michael Finley can continue to have a feeding ground or feeding opportunity to use our homegrown boys. And what I love about this opportunity is that, I've been saying it and we talked about it before, is that domestically, when our boys are looking at team selection for the national team, they almost concede, oh yeah, well, we're just going to go pick the guys overseas anyway. So I'm going to just show up on a Sunday. Training habits ain't got to be great. They develop big fish in a small pond mentality because they know they don't have to go into a bigger pond. Now this gives them some incentive to work harder, because now I got a local boy in a professional environment, coaching what I love. And I'm hoping that it reignites the hunger in some of our local players that have been a part of the national program that are no longer, or were a part of the youth national setup. So that's what my hope would be for this match today, is that these boys come and they show, they step it up today, and they show that, what, I can handle the international stage. So it's actually a training match for Finley, as well as kind of, Kenny and JB, locally based, will have seen some of these players, will have probably been the main persons behind the selection of the local players. And so, it'll be now just in Ben Lazare saying, hey, this is what we see week in and week out with this player. This is why, you know what I mean? We kind of gave it a nudge in that direction. So it's a win-win for Bermuda, for Finley, for the national team. And then there's players that may be in the national program that's a bit complacent football. Now we got some people that's kind of knocking on the door, possibly to take my spot. Mm-hmm. So now they work harder. And accountability comes into it. And accountability is going to have to be huge moving forward if we continue to do camps like this.
Sure. Punchy, some years ago, Connor Smith was in the same position as some of these guys in the changing room now, and he got his opportunity with New England. That inspiration and a game like today, do you think players should be looking to impress not only Finley, but also Connor, if there's a spot available on his team, because he's brought down trialists as well, who will play tonight? It's an opportunity to have a knock on the door and say, hey, can you come to Rhode Island? preseason training. We want to have another look at you. Here's an opportunity for it.
Oh, you put that right. There's an opportunity for these guys that were selected for this team tonight to show off what they really, the strengths and how good they are. I know it's only one-off situation here, but I'm hoping what does it do for the players that are representing Bermuda? It gives them now this feeling that I got somewhere else to be. If I don't go to England to play, I can go and play in the United States. And I think a lot of us here, with this glamour of going over to England and playing, but there are still very good opportunities in the United States at the college level and this USL. So it's a wonderful opportunity for these guys. Maybe we should have been doing this years ago and making sure that people feel, look, okay, I can do this. I can be a semi-pro. I can go and play in this league and be okay. But I just think that with these guys that have been selected, I do hope. What are you expecting on? All of a sudden to see, this team probably weak tonight. I'm not sure about that, but I just think the encouragement would be that at least they're being looked at and they start to feel that maybe I can do this. Maybe I can be selected to go overseas and play somewhere else.
Yeah. Coach, we have Leilani, who was drafted, playing in the U.S. We had Nia Christopher picked up and taken on preseason tour. So on the ladies' side, we've got two knocking on the door, but one already in, another one knocking on the door to become a professional or even semi-professional footballer. What does this do for? And I'm gonna talk about the ladies' side now because it's important. Because if you have a teammate who has now been drafted and another teammate who's been pulled into a professional setup, what does this do for the rest of the women and girls in the national team?
Absolutely. When I took this job about 10 years ago, that was my goal. My goal was not a World Cup. Hopefully Maurice don't hear that. You think that I don't have high ambitions, but my I always took this job to try to help develop players to create opportunities. And Leilani and Nia have got those opportunities. We have others. There's Leah Nerlin who's at Redwood City. Now we have Kenny. Homegrown players. But now the players that I have now, and with the process that we're in, and we're in accountability training right now. And what do you want? Do you want this? Do you want this? Because this opportunity can very well happen for the women.
Mm-hmm.
We have connections with those pro or semi-pro teams in Baltimore, in New York, and I can always reach out to get this same thing happen for the women, and so our local base players can get the opportunity to be looked at on that side as well. And now that we have a Bermudian in, first one ever in a U.S. pro team, then the girls are saying, hey, maybe
Mm-hmm.
if I do A, B, and C. And so then it makes my job easier because now you're working towards something more than just playing for the national team. You're working towards a career. And that is what this is about. We are going to, as I'm watching the Women's World Cup, and it's a gulf between the top of the CONCACAF and where we are. But it doesn't mean that we cannot get there. And it's all it takes is a lot of ambition. And so if I see that, this is my teammate, like she plays with me and now she's playing as a pro.
Mm-hmm.
So Leilani getting drafted is much more than it being about
just her getting
Leilani. It's about
drafted,
Bermuda. It's about women's football in Bermuda. It's about where we are trying to go and where we're going to get to. I don't doubt it. So this when this came up, of course, my first thought is when it's our time, and everything happens in its time,
yes.
And not that we concede, but we do understand that a lot of things are not more feasible to do on the men's side before we can get it done on the women's side. But we just keep going, we keep working. But I definitely think that with Nia and Leilani, and I mean, Nia still got to finish college, but just the fact that she is training, I mean, at Gotham City, I believe it's like probably the top. So to be in and around, when I'm watching USA play, and all the commentators talking about this Gotham City, and I'm sitting there smiling with goosebumps. And I'm saying, one of our little girls is actually going with Gotham City. So yeah, I mean, maybe Connor has some connections with the women's side, and he can come back and see his mom.
Pressure already, man.
Come back and see his mom,
into.
and get some nice pizza and bring a girls team. But no, I think this is great. This is a great opportunity for the men, and it tells everyone that we are serious about what it is that we're trying to do.
Sure. Well, first of all, kind of welcome back. Glad that you're able to. Well, congratulations as well, GM, head coach, tall order for a tall man.
Many Joe Vegases.
But kind of, I was talking to Punchy and Coach Kita a little while ago, and we were saying some of the young men that are in the Bermuda locker room were you some years ago, getting an opportunity to play against a team, a professional team, and impressing the coach that came knocking on the door. Now that the shoe's on the other foot, and you're the one now got a team, and what do you think goes through those young men's mind in that locker room right now?
I mean, ultimately, if I had to give them any advice, it would be control what they can control. They can't control what I think. They can't control the outcome of their match, but they can control their performance and how they act and how they behave on the pitch and how they perform. So then let the rest take care of itself. What's meant to be for them will be meant to be. At that point in time, that was meant to be for me, but there was plenty of times that it wasn't before that. So that was my moment. And luckily, I was ready.
When you look at the position you find yourself in now, was that something that just came about, especially the GM part? I know you've been coaching a lot. You've been doing a lot of that, assistant coaching and so forth. But getting the GM role as well as the head coach role, do you think it was something that you felt that challenge is something you want to take on? Obviously, you took it on.
Yeah, I mean, that was how the club was looking to structure the organization and the role. So I think I've always wanted to be into the business of the sporting side. I do enjoy that, and I do enjoy being on the field too. So luckily, it was just the opportunity that presented itself, and the way that USL clubs are structured, it's not necessarily always able to have a technical director, sporting director, general manager, and a head coach and a staff. So yeah, I'm just fortunate to be in the position.
Well, you could call us when it warms up there, because right now it's a bit chilly. Punchy?
Connor, I'm glad to have you here. What has this journey been like for you? If you can offer any advice for the youngsters that are coming through, because in this country now, there's so many youngsters looking forward to a chance to play overseas.
Yeah.
Can you give us what you've been through and what is it that it takes to get this far where you are now?
Yeah, a lot of disappointments. Like we spoke about that earlier. I can countless amount of trials that I've been on before in England, in the US, that didn't work out. But ultimately, they got to have self-belief and determination to, the bad parts when you fail. That's what you really see what you're made of. So what you're gonna offer, what are you gonna do? You're gonna quit, or you're gonna try again. So yeah, ultimately, keep believing in yourself. Nobody's gonna believe in you more than yourself and your family. So the people that are there to support you, be grateful for them. I wouldn't be here without people's support. So when the opportunity comes, take it and just keep believing in yourself. It's never gonna be like this. It's gonna be like this. It's gonna be like this. You just gotta keep going. If you want it bad enough, you'll get it.
Okay.
No, I went to a little workshop earlier, but I thought it was great. I had to attend the answer more. That moved to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. I was like, yes. So 1:15, I'm in St. George's. 1:45, I'm looking at my cousin, and I'm like, I'm making 2 o'clock. And she's like, 'cause you better leave. But from listening, from talking to the other coaches, what you're representing, and I would love for you to do that type of match analysis for me as a women's coach, because you give Finley stuff to look at and to think about with the men, which is we gotta see where our gaps are. Even as a coach, that if this is the gap, was it because I missed that gap, or was it because the players just didn't execute what they need to execute at that time? So it's a whole growth process, and we're in such a peculiar space right now, and that to have I'm excited. Have a homegrown person in that position. It's like what little Bermuda. Like people are like, we're not supposed to have this. We're not supposed to have a condo as a GM in a country that has millions of people. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
From
yeah.
a country that has 65,000 or less at this stage. But it's such a proud moment for Bermuda and for Bermuda football to have this. So like, I don't have any questions. I'm just really happy for you and your journey, because you probably don't know this, but there's some boy out there that's looking and saying, I'm gonna be Connor. I'm gonna be him. Not necessarily Connor that was New England Rail Connor, but I'm gonna be Rhode Island Connor. And so that is, football can take you so many places. You don't have to be a football. You can be a rep. You could be that person. And you can use what you learned through this sport to be that person. So yeah, this is great for me. I wouldn't have missed this for anything.
Well,
we could have played last night. I'd have
Thank
been
you.
there.
Thank you for the kind words, but you're a trailblazer too. So
Yeah, thank
appreciate you all you do for
Thank you.
football in the country.
Before you go, you mentioned something that really intrigued me, and it's the disappointment and give up, because we've seen a lot of our young people of late. When the road gets rough, they got to pack up and pack it in. That's the time you kind of find out who you really are. And just if you can, just talk about one of those dark moments where you found yourself in a position where things are not going well for me or my team, but I gotta trust it. I gotta trust the process. I gotta trust what I'm doing, and what I'm being told to do is the right thing.
Yeah, I mean, I'll probably just look at it from an MLS perspective when I was playing. So I didn't, I finished college. I was at a small D2 school. Obviously, nobody in MLS was watching that level at that time. So I was here. I was home working. I was working at Delwood Middle School as a PE teacher. Great time, because that helped shape me too. But ultimately, that's not what my passion was at the time. That's not what I wanted to do. So just had to keep going, find a way, and then opportunity came. The team was here, and that was the rest is history.
I want to ask you one more
Yeah,
question.
sure.
Before you go, and you've been over that side for a long time. What are the United States is like is booming, and I can remember when I first started going 9, 10 years ago to David's camp, the basketball camp, and he just told me, he'd take me around to schools and say, "This is another 10 years, women's soccer like I did, will the United States will be that far." What have you seen in the growth in the United States compared to us? Do you, and this is something that I want to ask you, do you think we're doing enough in schools to keep at least have a somewhat of outlet like the United States is doing?
So I think, like everything, right? It's finances, resources, and investment. And unfortunately, the game in this country is not professional. Is that ever a possibility? I don't know. But I think that's where the investment and the growth is coming in the United States, because it is a career path. Right now, obviously, I had to leave to be that. So, could we create some sort of pathway for that to happen, where we could have professional football in this country at some stage to be able to develop and push people on? But I think ultimately it's resources. Can we improve pitches? Can we improve the clubs? And I think the BFA does a good job putting opportunities like this. Allocate much more resources to youth tournaments, to U20s our way. Right now, and much more investment in women's football as well. So, what can we do to go to that next stage? So, I think investment in the clubs, like, no disrespect to any of them, but I've drove around a few since I've been here, and it's the same as when I left 15 years ago. Nothing's changed. So, when are we gonna put investment into clubs? My biggest thing is, I've always said this to people. I got platforms, so I'll say it, but if a club pitch is not being used for cricket, why is it grass? Why is it not turf? Make it turf. We have youth tournaments, we have women's games, it's impossible to play football on a pitch like that and develop good players. So for me, that's where I would start. School pitches as well. You go to every high school, every college in the Northeast in the United States, they all have turf fields and the line for 6 different sports. So why can't we do that at the schools in Bermuda? Invest in the schools in Bermuda. Like, why does West Pembroke and Delwood need to have grass fields? Just invest the money one time, and now the community can also use that. It's more for everybody. I don't know. That's just my 2 cents.
I guess that's the best.
It's great.
I mean, I'm just saying that's what it is. Because you and I had discussion,
Right.
We travel. A lot of us have traveled, but to get this message across how important it is for global mobility. I'm just great to have you here, and I'm glad the country itself. And it's great to have you here. Really.
Then last piece for me, so obviously I got the camera, so I want to take the opportunity to. So we did something, and we're going to present the jersey to Marco Warren's family. We printed a jersey with his name and number on it. We presented to his family. So obviously, his cause we don't want to forget. Obviously, it's really tragic, and his legacy that he created obviously left impact on everybody. So we've given that, we're giving it to his family, and our number 10 is not going to wear his jersey tonight, so he's going to wear a blank jersey. So we're going to add that too.
Is there a certain, is it during the game? Is it a certain time on the game?
I think we're going to do it before.
Okay.
We have a printer with his name and number 10 on it. So
Okay. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that.
All right.
Good luck.
Yes.
In your first season.
Yeah.
Thanks.
I'm glad to come and see you. Okay. Well, there you've heard from Bermuda born, Bermuda brought up, Bermuda International, Connor Smith, who's the GM and head coach of Rhode Island. Again, in their inaugural season, they're here in Bermuda. It's that opportunity. It's that chance. And also, when he has people like Kenny and John Barry, who both coached him when he was a player in the national setup, and while John Barry played with him, here's an opportunity for them to also be seen and possibly, hey, you have a thought of, you know what I mean? There's always opportunity, and you said it. It's an opportunity for coaches, a GM, somebody that don't even play the sport. But there's opportunities out there within the sport itself. And just listening to, what Connor's message is, I think it's a step in the right direction for the country. Because now we have another avenue, we have another opportunity. Used to say next year preseason we don't go to them, and like you said, an opportunity if they're female team.
We go to them, and now in America, Connor could say, hey yo, to his
next door neighbors,
and
yeah,
stuff, his coaching fraternity that's out there. Listen, I really don't have a space right now, but I'm aware that you do. Come and have a look at this player.
Right,
you know what I mean?
right.
So the networking side of it is exciting for me because now you can say, hey, and now you can say, listen, I got a boy in college up the street, and Connor can be that. I know his hands are going to be full and he's going to be busy, but and say, look, I know a boy that's in college that's just up the street, from where you are, and this is his name. Go have a look. Here's his contact, and we have. He's been referred to me, but again, I don't have space for him. But I think it's a special talent. So that's what's key for me now. It's in networking, right? Because we got to network, guys. We're amateurs trying to get professional results. And I told my players the other day, said we lost 2-0 to Dominican. We beat Dominican 2-0, and then we lost 2-0 to Dominican. And when the commentator said on the TV the other night when they were playing US, this team was on. All this whole team was either born or resides in America. That hit me because they said, guys, we're not far away.
Right.
What we need is just that ambition to compete with these players who are playing majority semi-pro D1 colleges.
Yeah.
Football 7 days a week. Right now we're training twice a week. All right. So it's that type of stuff there that really excites me about the future. But we gotta have patience, guys. We have to have patience. Patience is key, right? And we are gonna have to have patience with Michael Finney, right? We have to have patience with him because I'm gonna tell you, just from my conversations, from his presentations, he is the guy for the job. He's the guy for the job. But I will tell you this much: it's gonna take a bit of time. We may not see what we need to see from our men's national team until these under 20 boys are full man.
Yeah.
We have to have patience because we've been trying to get professional results in an amateur environment.
Yeah.
Regardless of how many professionals we have overseas, we've been trying to get professional results in an amateur environment.
Well, I want to add to something about what Campbell said. I don't say, and it's something we talked about. Facilities. Going back to the giving you help. Because we don't have a league. When you see the tournaments that help, you see the younger. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. So what happens? Still learning this process. So anyway, the point is, what's so important that Connor says It's not that David has to say it. Nothing that you have to say
No.
about facilities. We talked about them.
Mhm.
We talked about how it's important for development. Now, if you and I keep repeating this, when you come up with what's that large thing they have up in the tournament? The Kappa.
Kappa,
Look at all the talent,
Mhm.
and then you have the girls and the enthusiasm. So when these young kids say, "No, college is so important,"
Mhm.
and some of them, I think a lot of I don't want to get away from this. I want to make sure people understand this. It's okay to say your kids only 17,
Mhm.
but there's colleges that have very good programs.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna encourage your families also to think about that. And I think it got away from us because I remember there's a lot of people going on college scholarships now.
Mhm.
So the most important point is that even in college, it's a very good football.
Yeah.
About what's so important about tonight's game is the beginning of let's see where we're at
Right.
in footballs that are here.
Yeah.
Did-
Domestic.
Yeah.
Domestic football.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the most important thing out of all of this is the continuation. If it makes no sense, for years we start something and then we halt it, and then we wait 5 or 6 years and then we bring it back. It's about you got to have a plan, and this is where I keep saying when someone from a club or a president or somebody of management from a club says to me, "Oh, well, your BFA keep getting it wrong," and I said, "Well, hold on. Remember, you go in and you vote. You go in and you can make a presentation to the other clubs that we all get on the same page and we follow that same line, no matter who the president is, no matter who the executive is of the association. You just make sure that we stay on that same line. But until you clubs understand that you have the power to do that,
You're speaking on development versus minute. So
well,
that's a whole nother topic, and we'll have to have a Wednesday night show for that, right? But when we speak
that's a 3-hour show.
Yes.
but when we speak of like facilities, right? I look at our facilities and Clyde Best and other accidents.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody can walk up there and go on that field, even though there's no trespassing. Anybody can walk up there and go on that field and play.
Yeah.
They get 50 girls. You can't walk up in there and play whenever you want.
Mm-hmm.
You can't just go down there and play whenever you want. You can't go on to, I'm thinking of nice fields. You can't just go on to Salters Field and play when you want.
Right.
You cannot go on to BAA and just play if you want. But at our national center, our national football center, you can.
Yeah.
So as a country, we have to respect that. I mean, I showed up to training and I've had to argue with guys to get off the field for my national team.
Right.
My son, Saki, is like, Mama, can I come train? And you cannot come. The national team is training on this field. You cannot come onto the field, sir.
Right.
I have to tell my sister, you cannot come onto the field, Sajan, because the women, the girls are training. When I go to the field and another national team is training, I don't just walk onto the field.
Right.
But that's not my fashion. So until we can get to a place where we respect our own national facility, not Philadelphia,
Right.
but Clyde Bass Center of Excellence, which I know highly because of Clyde Bass, who is Clyde Bass, then that has to happen. You know, you can drive closer at any time, especially when it's warm, and everybody is using. And then, you know, my national team players are upset, and national team players like we don't want to train there because the field is, and it's not because the national players have earned it. It's because the association is like we cannot really fix this because it's just going to have the same thing because we don't really have what we need to have around that field to protect it as it should be protected, right? And so you're talking about if a West Pembroke and a Delwood get the turf field, and then all the kids that stay around West Pembroke is going to be down on that turf field. It'd be ruined in the matter. Because you're looking at somebody. So there's a lot. And that's where it has to start. Build what's gonna protect it first.
Yes.
And then But it's absolutely correct. The facilities is everything. You go to Dominican Republic, they're a baseball country. Their baseball fields are immaculate. The football fields are horrible. Right? But that's what their investment in, and that's their facilities. So it's critical.
Yeah. Well, we want to thank you for joining us this evening. We'll be back next week Sunday with another edition of the Island Stats Football Show. Again, the two results from today, from this week. Yeah, two results from today was Robin Hood 9, Island Rangers 0, Boulevard Blazers 3, Somerset Eagles 1, and on Thursday night it was Devonshire Colts 9, Vasco 0. Just tuck it up underneath there. Thank you.
Before we go, is there any notables, any you would know. You guys go to the game. So, is there any players that's tonight in the team that could or should stand out or have stood out?
Well, we were just brought. We were just brought the team.
Or have stood out.
So let's have a quick. Is it one thing or two? I'm surprised that Enrique is starting only because he's been nursing an injury.
Okay. Keyshawn Bean for sure. Jamaica Cottington definitely. Blaze Hall, yes.
Yes. Well, Blaze is on the bench.
Okay. Justin Bow has been standing out for Hammond and Paris.
Yes.
Tamiko Gilda has come
of late, yeah.
Young Tosai Showers definitely has been standing out for
Mr. Hart from Paget has been.
Yes, DRJ Hart as well has been standing out. So yeah, it looks. I mean, Jalen Harvey looks like he's on the bench.
Oh no, hold on. These guys are playing.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
These guys are starting. So Blaze is starting.
Yeah, so Blaze is starting.
Jalen.
Jabri Salam's in there. We know Anaje. We know the quality of Anaje.
Yes.
Trey Bell. Jai Beam, beautiful, and Zico Lewis. So
yeah.
So that's actually not a bad team. Those players can actually, be a part of the national setup as we speak.
And the other thing is they would have another night on Tuesday night. To switch this around as well and give those guys who possibly are not getting a lot of time today will get some time, because as for the local coach, he's going to want to see as much of these guys in a setup that he's got, in a structure that he's got, and see who can play in what positions. I mean, somebody might be really doing a great job for their club in a position, but in the system and formation that the national team play, they may not suit it. So he might have to switch them around a little bit.
So I'm really excited for coming to this game. I mean, I really am, because it's just for them to see our standard, for us to recognize where we're at. And these guys, you can recognize that out there. Yeah. You can see them in the body language enthusiasm. So my point is that this, as you both said, this was a continue. There'll be a constantly looking at the people to play against and always trying to see where we are at, especially for home-based players.
Definitely. Well, I want to say to you guys, thank you for joining. Go and enjoy this. I mean, we don't get to see this very often. We get to see how Kano is set up. It's going to be a tough season for him because he's wearing two major hats in a new organization, where he comes off the field and then he's got to do the business side. So hey, I wish him all the best, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to get to see Rhode Island play this season in person, and we'll take it from there. All right. Okay. Well, folks.
If you're not here, come here.
Yeah. If you're not here, come on up. If you cannot make it tonight, Tuesday 7:30.
Yeah. For the country, please.
Okay.
Yes.
All righty. Have a good night.
Hey, Coach.
Yes.
Yes.